Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to make a cat clock. First, we're going to start with opening Carbide Create, and this is what you see when you first open the program. The view will be a little skewed, like you can see on my screen. So one thing you can do is go up to the top left-hand corner and click Reset View. So now we can see the work plane easier. Select the area, and you can delete the design that's already there because we don't need it. All right, the first thing we're going to start with is adjusting the work plane. So go up to the gear in the top left-hand corner, click it. The first box that will open will be stock size. We're going to change that to 14 by 10. And we want a stock thickness in the tab below it of 0.25. And we're going to change the material to MDF wood and click OK at the bottom. Reset view again. And here's our work plane. It looks like I just did it wrong. Let me fix that quickly. Okay, we want the width to be 10 inches, the height to be 14 inches. Okay, much better. Reset view again, and now we're ready to start with the cat. So to get the cat, go to Library, Cats, scroll down to the bottom, and we're using this cat right here. It's orange, so we know it's selected. We can go to the scaling option in the bottom tab here, resize, click that. We're going to want a height of 12. And when you change that, Carbide Create changes the width for you to make sure the cat is a consistent size no matter what scale factor or scaling you apply to it. So here's our cat. It's orange, so it's still selected, so we can just click right on it and move it onto the work plane. Right about there. Okay. So you can see the cat outline is black now, so I don't have it selected anymore. The next step is putting the clock face on the cat. To do that, we're going to grab a polygon here. A regular polygon. Try and center it in the middle of the cat and pull it out. We want the polygon to have 12 sides. And then center it to your liking in the middle of the cat. Okay, the reason we're doing this is because Carbide Create doesn't have any dimensioning features to it, which is kind of annoying. But we can work around it in this case by using a polygon and making it 12-sided. So how we can do that, like I was saying, is grab the text feature here. And what we're going to do is we can actually put the numbers in, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth, 1 through 12 on the clock face, and snap it to each edge or corner of the polygon here. So we can get probably the most accurate thing we can to an actual clock face with dimensions. But given we don't have that, we are working with what we have. So we're changing that to 12 over here in the tab. We want the height to be 0.75. Okay, go ahead and apply that and grab it. And just place it right over the corner center. This 12 is a little hard to work with because usually I'd grab right in the center of the object and move that as close as I can to the center. But given when I try and select right here in the middle, it just does that. It's a little annoying. So this one you're just going to have to try and eyeball, and right there looks about okay. All right, so let's go on. Click text again. We get the little orange thing in the middle of the polygon that reads text. Change that to 11. Height of 3/4 of an inch. Oh, sorry, that is the wrong one. You want to go to the size tab over here. Make the height 0.75. Right about there. Let me put in a number that has a more defined center so I can just show you where I usually grab it. Let's do 1. Make it 0.75. Apply. And now see, I'm grabbing as close as I can to the center of 1. And you can sort of see right here, right above the point of my cursor, there's a little blue circle. And that shows the point from which I grabbed the number. We're going to try and snap that right to the corner. And when it says end, like it does right under my mouse, that's the center of the number snapping to the corner of the polygon. And that's what I mean, like, as best we can to center the object. So we're going to continue doing that with all the numbers 1 through 12 until we get the clock face completed. Okay, once you put all the numbers in, as you can see, and as you probably know, we are pretty close and overlapping, actually, the edge of the cat here. So we're going to fix that quick. What you're going to do is select the polygon. And we're going to go over here to scale again, click resize. Right now we have a scale factor of 1 in there. If we change that to a value below 1 to 0.75, for example, I'm not sure how this will turn out, but we're just doing it as an example, and click apply, we get a polygon that is 3/4 the size of the original. So we're going to undo that quick. And let's go with a scale factor of 0.9. And that works pretty well, actually. So what we're going to do quick is select all the numbers and move them down to the corners. Make sure while you're doing this again that you're trying to select in the middle of the number and snapping it to the corner. Make sure you get that end notification. Because this really does help eliminate any small errors. Because Card Create doesn't have dimensioning, you're going to have errors. It's just a fact of the program when you're dealing with more organic shapes like this that don't follow the gridding that's on the template. If you were just doing a simple square or a box or something, it'd be fine. But given the shapes are organic that we're using, it's more difficult. All right, that looks pretty good to me. So we're going to go ahead and move on. What we're going to put in now is the center circle where you can attach your clock kit. So still in design, go and click circle. Make that the center. And the radius, it's not the diameter we're putting in, it's the radius. And the radius you're going to be wanting to put in is 0.5 151. Yeah, 151. Let's go ahead and make that just down to 15 for simplicity's sake. And actually, yeah, change that to 0.2. Because according to the prototype I had done earlier, that hole can be a little difficult to put the clock kit into. You might have to sand it down a bit, and hopefully by making it 0.2, we can eliminate that. Okay. So here we have our circle. This is the completed cat face. We can go get ahead and get rid of our guiding polygon. And here's what our cat clock will look like. We can now go ahead and start on the toolpath for the cat. So click on toolpath. We're going to start with the center circle. And we're starting with this because if you cut out, say, the cat outline first, then the object would be sort of freestanding. Unless you clamped down the actual cat, once it was cut out, it would have no surface to be attached to prevent movement while you're cutting it. So we're going to start with the center hole. We want to contour this. The bit you're going to be wanting to use is number 102, which is a 1/8 inch end mill. And for the max depth, click use stock bottom, which automatically sets it to the stock bottom we assigned earlier of 1/4 inch. And we want no offset on this, so it cuts directly and follows the design we already have, like it doesn't go inside or outside the numbers or the lines that you can view. And we're going to call this center hole. I'll just show you what that looks like real quick. At the bottom here, click show simulation. And there's our center hole. I'm going to fix that quick because right now I do not have it right. So what you're going to want to do to fix that is go under toolpath, click center hole. What you want to do actually is with this one, click pocket. So that will cut through the material and clear out all the material within the outline of the circle. So now I can see it's changed. I'll show you the simulation. I'm going to change the toolpath simulation material to MDF wood. And now you can see we have a center hole. All right. Now with the rest of it, we'll do the numbers now. Click contour. The toolpath stays the same. We want no offset for this one. So all you really have to do is change the name. Oh, and you want to change the max depth of the cut. We're going to change the max depth to 0.093. And this is, I believe, 1/16 of the 0.25 total depth of the material. So this will give you a good depth so that you can view the numbers without too much trouble, but not so much that you're cutting so far into the material that light would go through, say. All right. Now for the contour for the rest of them, keep it 0.092 or 0.093, no offset. We're going to call this 1. You're going to want to do that for all the numbers. Contour again, 0.093, no offset, 2. And you're just going to continue this process for the rest of the numbers. Okay, so by now you should have all the toolpaths done for the numbers. So we can go ahead and check that out by clicking Show Simulation. And there you have it. One thing I'm going to do is the 10 looks a little smushed close to the 11. I'm going to fix that quickly by clicking Hide Simulation, and we can take the 10, I'm going to move it probably Yeah, right about there. You can move it to however you'd like to. It's personal preference, honestly, because as I said, carbide has no dimensioning system. So whatever you think looks good is right. Alright, we're going to call it at that. Next, of course, would be the cat outline. So go to Toolpath again. Select the cat outline. And click Contour again. We still have the 1/8 inch end mill. This one we want to use stock bottom, and we're going to cut on the outside right. So we're getting the full volume or surface area of the cat when we cut this, and we're going to call it cat outline. Okay, let's click show simulation, and there it is. Okay, so the last thing left to do is save your G-code. So you're going to want to go over to Toolpath, and under the Toolpath simulation, there's going to be the little green button that says Save G-code. You're just going to want to click that, name it something you'll remember, and save it someplace where you can access it from the Shapeoko 3. But that is the end of the design aspect of the cat clock. Here's our setup for the cat clock on the Shapeoko 3. We have the Shapeoko here, and then we have 4 clamps in each corner to hold it down. And you want to make sure when you're coding, as I probably talked about, that you have the cat set up in the work plane in your design according to where you have clamps, so you wouldn't want your cat to sit down here in the corner if you're going to have clamps there, because then you'll run into the clamps and have trouble. So the first thing you're going to want to do, once you have the G-code saved, you want to transfer it to the Shapeoko and open Carbide Motion. Click Connect Cutter, that's going to be the first page you see, and you're going to want to home the machine. So go down to the 3rd tab over, click Jog, and click to begin homing. Why did it not home? Oh, it's already homed. Okay, so we started from the homing position. So it's homed all the way over there. Now we're going to jog it back over to where we're actually going to be starting the cat from. So you're going to want to click Jog again. And if you go down here to Rapid Position, click that and you can move instantaneously down to the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, as you can see, it's centered right over the clamp right now, and we do not want that. So we're going to move it over to where we want our cat to start. So by doing that, we're still in the jog setting. We're going to position it over in the X. In the X. And down in the Z. And just center it however you, I'm going to still try and get it in the corner, probably right about there. And make sure when you're doing this, don't keep it in fast all the time, only when you're making large movements, because else you might run into the material and you'll have to recenter or rehome the whole thing. So I'm going to go down to 1 millimeter to get the final distance. In the Z direction. I'm going to go. Okay, that's good. Okay, so right now we have it touching the material. We are ready to start cutting. So how we set that as the starting point of our cat clock is back on the computer here. Click set 0, and all your coordinates, you're going to click 0 all. So that means our cat starts directly from that point. That'll be the lowest most point of the template in Card by Create, where that little red circle was on the bottom left hand corner. That's where we have this 0 to right now. Okay, now to start the cat clock, I'm just going to move it up in the Z direction, just so we're not starting right on the material, because it will want to rapid traverse to the first cut we made, which is the center hole. So now that we have everything all set up, I'm going to go ahead and load the cat clock file. Okay, we have our spindle set to 0. We moved it up in the Z direction a little just so we're not touching the material. And we are ready to start cutting. However, the first thing, you're not going to want to forget this. So you're going to want to turn the spindle on. And now we're ready to start cutting. Okay, once your cat clock is all cut out, this should be about what the finished product looks like, or what it looks like after you cut it out, actually. We're going to sand it down so it gets to the quality of what you hope the finished product will be. And we'll show you some of that coming up. After you're done with the palm sander, to get these edges smooth here, you can take it to a circular sander. I hope that's what it's called. Alright, once you have that all sanded, you can take a piece of sandpaper just to get it in the parts you couldn't reach with the circular sander, like right here and the ears.
Alright, so today we're going to be assembling the clock assembly for our freshly milled cat clock. And these are the materials you're going to need: the actual clock part, the rubber pad, hour hand, minute hand, second hand, brass washer, and this tiny little nut here. Alright, and normally there would be a bigger nut, but because of the thickness of our material, we didn't need it / it wouldn't fit. So let's get this started. You're just going to take the rubber pad and you're going to place it around the shaft of the clock assembly. You're then going to put that through your pre-drilled hole, pre-milled hole of your clock, and yeah. Alright, and now that we have that put through, that is all set, and now we can continue with the rest. So next step you're going to do, you're going to take the brass washer and put it around like that. You're then going to take your hour hand, which has the biggest circle, and you're going to push that around that white part there, and it's going to fit pretty snugly. Alright, so next you're going to place the minute hand on, and that won't fit on quite as snugly. That's just going to sort of rest there until we use this smaller brass nut. It's going to screw on just on top, and that's going to push it down so it stays right. Alright, and the last and final step is the second hand, and that actually fits inside of the center of the clock assembly. And that just pushes right on as hard as you can. And then you are all set. You can get your AA battery and you will be good to go. And as you can see, it is ticking along.